Hey everyone, this is Walter, and I'm finally back here with more of celebrity litigator and general crazy person, Russell Greer. Russell is of course mostly known for suing Taylor Swift, and then he wrote a book about losing his lawsuit to immortalize his shame. God only knows why. Let's get started with Russell Greer's book, Why I Sued Taylor Swift. Okay, this story is about to get legitimately crazy. Bear in mind this is supposed to be non-fiction. I wonder if it was during his research for this book when he decided to ask Cora, does Taylor Swift have AIDS? Can I ask the FBI to raise the reward price in exchange for me telling them information about a wanted person? Somebody or a group of people is trying to kill me, but the police don't seem to care. What do I do if the police won't help me? I think we'll be seeing about that last one today. By the way, he's still alive, so I guess they weren't trying very hard. Okay, so last time when we left off, he had just told his lawyer friend that he was going to sue Taylor Swift, and he looked at him like he was crazy. Because who wouldn't? Chapter 5, Burning Down the Forest. Fire consumed my belly as I marched out of Ken's office. Once the inspiration had hit me to sue Taylor, I had quickly left the office, not wanting to lose the drive for my inspiration. Confused, Ken rushed after me. "Russell," Ken called out, trying to keep up with me. "Russ, you're doing what?" I stopped walking and looked at Ken. "Have you ever gone hiking and got lost in the forest?" I questioned Ken. "Yeah," Ken said with a confused expression. "Were you ever tempted to do anything to get found?" I asked. Ken thought for a moment. "Pray?" Ken, being devoutly religious, responded. "Well, I've been lost in the woods before, and I'm lost right now. The only way I'm going to get found by Taylor is if she sees the smoke," I explained. "We're going to light the situation on fire." "Wait, we?" Ken blurted out. "My paralegal degree has given me the basics on the law. I need you to help me and guide me, Ken," I said to Ken. "If I'm going to do this right." Ken shut his eyes, trying to comprehend everything. "There's so many questions I have right now, but let me first say, I'm no longer in litigation. I'm in a whole completely different realm of law. I could be held liable for malpractice if I gave you bad advice, especially since civil law is no longer what I do," Ken straightforwardly stated to me. "But I would find a lawyer before you do anything else. That's my advice." Yeah, Russ's lawyer friend wanted no part of this shit show. And I don't think he ever found an attorney that did. To be honest, I'm not a litigious person. I had only ever filed one lawsuit prior to this entire incident, and that was in February of 2015 in Reno, Nevada, small claims justice court against a sex worker at a Nevada brothel who went by the name Kira Keeper. Her real name, though, was Murphy Walters. Because this incident was a major event in my life and could be seen as the first lawsuit I ever filed, I wish to explain it thoroughly here so that slander cannot be written about me pertaining to this incident after this book is published. I'd like to say that I mostly believe Russell about this story. I do think she was trying to take advantage here, but also what he was doing was comically stupid. Murphy was one of the most beautiful girls I had ever seen. She was 19 years old at the time and was of Colombian descent, with brown luscious hair that went past her shoulders. Her body was slim and beautiful. Being the disabled guy that I am, no girls wanted to date me. So I had made biannual Amtrak trips to Nevada, where brothels are legal, to feel and express intimacy that every human being deserves to have. Intimacy, huh? Panic at the Disco called it a wonderful caricature of intimacy. It's also great how Russell instantly blames his disability for no one wanting to date him rather than his rapey behavior. My journeys weren't solely for sex. Many times I had gone to Nevada just to cuddle with somebody and have a makeout partner. When you have nothing, just having something means everything. If you have to pay for it, there's nothing wrong with that. Money doesn't cause some science fiction effect and change acts between consenting adults. Once you consent, it should be legal, money or no money. As the late comedian George Carlin once said, selling is legal, fucking is legal. Good God, the formatting is so bad. That's the only reason I'm showing you the actual pages. And here he fucks up and puts the same page twice. Why can't selling fucking be legal? Pardon his French, but he does have a point. Even though prostitution is legal in Nevada in the form of brothels in certain counties, and the women who choose to work as sex workers are free-thinking adults, the brothels do invite a lot of crude weirdos, which is no different than the guys that strip clubs and hookup sites invite. It's a fact. Whenever sex is involved, weirdos are bound to be attracted. Knowing that weirdos interact with the sex workers, I wanted to impress Murphy with chivalry, so I took a semester of college off in the summer of 2014 and picked up a third job so that I could afford to take Murphy out to dinner and show her what it was like to be with a Casanova, a gentleman. First off, Russ, you're one of those weirdos. He's putting more effort into this than I probably have into anything in my entire life, and it's such a dumb idea. Everyone here probably knows how this ends, but let's check it out. I juggled 3 jobs, working from 5 a.m. to 1 a.m. Though I was exhausted and could barely function because I was so tired, I imagined how magical the moment with Murphy would be. I could imagine how beautiful she would look, and could imagine her and I at dinner, dining like a romantic couple, playing footsie with each other. November 9th, 2014, the day of my long worked for and awaited romantic date, had finally arrived. I had traveled 8 hours on the Amtrak and was greeted by the Bunny Ranch limo. Inside the limo, the gorgeous Murphy waited for me. Bashfully, I climbed into the limo. I was a frog in the presence of a princess. To get myself near Murphy's league, I dressed in a suit and gave flowers to Murphy. She didn't seem happy to be on the date, though. She gave me cold glares and made silent gestures about my facial appearance. My heart sank, but I tried to ignore the gestures, thinking that I may be reading too much into the expressions. I was Murphy's client, and she surely wouldn't treat a paying guest like that. To my shock, Murphy made the comment, "I wish I wasn't on this date. The brothel made me come." As for all this shit, we saw how unreliable of a narrator he is with the Ariana Grande story. He says everyone mocks his disability. After a half-hour ride from the Amtrak station in Reno to the Bunny Ranch brothel in a small town called Mound House, I stood up in the brothel cash office and paid the $4,000 I had saved up to be with the angel in blue jeans. Slyly threw in the name of a train song right there. Our date plan was to go to Olive Garden first, and then have intimacy in the bedroom, but the restaurant did not open for 2 hours. The cash office sent Murphy and I back to the guest room I was staying the night in, and they presumed that we were going to have sex, and so the cashier started the timer for our date. Murphy knew the timer was starting, but did not tell me or make any move on me. As she was doing her job and we were at her place of location, I trusted her as the host. For nearly 2 hours, we sat on the bed and talked. I was nervous because she was so beautiful. She had a black dress on, and no midriff skin was showing as to create the appearance that we were going to have sex. She didn't touch me in any sexual way, or touch me at all for that matter. Since I was a gentleman, I didn't try touching her, even though I had paid so much money. Thus, I honestly did not believe that our paid-for intimate encounter had begun, and I was allowing her to guide me. I did try touching her shoulder once, and she scooted away from me. Like a snake, Murphy Walters begrudgingly made small talk with me, as she essentially tried to beat the clock. Murphy fraudulently induced me, so that she made it look like the date was being done, and that she could get the money after the date was finished, from the cash office. Since I wasn't asking for anything, because I didn't know the clock had started, Murphy was using that loophole to claim that all I wanted to do was talk. For $4,000. Yeah, right. Okay, so obviously Russ should know that if she's spending time with him at all, it means the clock has started. Still, it's hard to say that she deserves $4,000 for this, definitely taking advantage. Once inside Olive Garden, Murphy didn't order anything to eat and looked really uncomfortable to be with me. After an awkward hour inside the diner, the limo picked us up and we sat in silence. I felt sad that she wasn't saying anything, but was excited to do adult things with her, to have a partner to kiss and sexually express myself with. Murphy, though, was talking about how she was happy to head home. I was confused. Returning to the ranch, the cashier told us that we had 5 minutes left. My eyes opened wide with shock. I almost vomited. I didn't want to cause a scene, but I wanted to protest the unfairness. I didn't know what to say, and just like that, Murphy quickly hurried out of the brothel, and our $4,000 date was over. The brothel smoke consumed me and seeped into my suit as I sat down on a sofa of the parlor in shock. Eventually, Murphy was caught and blamed the entire thing on my failure to clearly explain what I wanted. Though I had explained that I wanted intimacy, which wasn't that hard to infer what that entailed, especially inside of a house of prostitution. Her mindset was rather scary. Anyone could apply her logic to any other work setting and create a horror scenario. A waitress pouring coffee on one's head because the customer didn't specify to pour his drink in the cup. A doctor not using a clean needle when giving a shot to a patient because the patient didn't request a clean needle. An operator starting a roller coaster ride without fastening the safety restraints, because the riders didn't ask for the restraints to be fastened. Some duties are assumed with jobs. Murphy's job was to make sure that her and I sat down in her room, as is customary in brothels, and discussed what I wanted to pay for. Murphy, though, would not admit to any wrongdoing and started working at another brothel, the Mustang Ranch. Upon learning of her new stint in a new brothel, I became livid. It wasn't the money that I had lost that I was upset about. It was that I had paid for a service and was discriminated against by this sex worker. And let's not forget that he sidelined his life by taking a semester off so he could make that $4,000. But it's his own lack of assertiveness that allowed this to happen. She had some nerve to essentially give me the finger and continue working as a sex worker. All I wanted was an apology, and she was apparently above giving one. Discrimination is an awful feeling, and after years of being denied and being spat upon, I snapped. I began to form physical ailments and mental fatigue. I ended up suing Murphy for $8,000. Much of the money asked for in the pleading was to serve as a deterrent, to make sure Murphy or any other sex workers would never take advantage of the privilege that they are in. The case was clear-cut, and I know I was going to win. The brothel owner, Dennis Hoff, even wrote me a letter validating everything I alleged, shown on the next page. Please excuse typos found in the letter. I didn't write it, obviously. Dennis even volunteered to testify at the trial against Murphy. Yeah, so it looks like Dennis Hoff, the late Moonlight Bunny Ranch owner, agreed with Russell and wrote him a letter, and also gave him credit for half the money. I'm no paralegal, but I know what happens when you bring a letter into small claims court. Judge Judy yells, "That's hearsay!" As prepared as I was for the trial, I forgot that judges give more credence to those with lawyers than those who are representing themselves. There's something about that Juris Doctorate degree that makes judges lean towards the legal professional than the layperson, even if the layperson is dead right. Being a newly graduated paralegal straight out of college, I was cocky and felt that I didn't need an attorney. And so I prepared to bring Murphy to justice. I spent months compiling all of my evidence. When the trial came, Murphy played the good girl who didn't do anything wrong, and that she couldn't decipher my chivalry. The opportunity arose for me to quash Murphy's crocodile lies, and I whipped out the signed letter from the brothel owners. I looked back towards the gallery, prepared to summon my witness, but only a few strangers sat in the pews, watching. I scanned the room and could not find my witness. Pushing on without him, I showed the judge the letter, but the judge thought that I had wrote the affidavit, and so the bailiff quickly rushed me, preparing to arrest me for perjury. After some pleading, I convinced the judge that I did not forge the letter. Unfortunately, he would not consider the letter, and thus my case fell apart because my strongest piece of evidence that implicated Murphy of fraud would not be considered. Being fraudulently induced by a person I trusted left emotional scars on me. Some readers may be laughing upon reading that I was, and still am, distraught over a hooker. As has often been stated in this book, a reader won't understand my pain unless you've experienced being denied something for yourself. I guess the reason I tailored Swiftly on the song for Taylor Swift was because I wanted to forget an incident that hurt me very much. I wanted to be accepted by a female, a famous female at that. After having been rejected by a female of ill fame I sought comfort from. Even though I'm a male in his mid-20s with an incomparable sex drive, never did the thought dawn on me of wanting to get into Taylor Swift's pants. Sincerely, I only wanted to make her smile, and never see the effort I put into the musical gift that I tailored on for her. I was willing to burn down any forest I had to have Taylor Swift see my works. He really thinks that tailored Swiftly line is clever. Like it was bad the first time, but I'm amazed that he's still using it. Okay, I forgot this whole segment was here. I thought we were about to cover him going after Taylor Swift and getting fired and all that. But I guess that's for the next episode. Here we got an entire video of Russell explaining his lawsuit against a sex worker. And it's not his only lawsuit against a sex worker anymore either. Russell is up to, I believe, 10 lawsuits in total, and he has yet to win one. And you can take the one from today as a preview of how the Taylor Swift one's going to go. Anyway, it's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say, make sure you let me hear it in the comments. I'll be reading them while the video's new. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more of the same, because I have more videos planned in the near future for once. Big thanks also to my amazing patrons who actually give me money over on Patreon. It's really helpful, as always. Well, have a great day, everyone, and I hope you had a lot of fun learning about brothels from Rusty Greer.